Welcome into the Locked On Packers live post-game squad show. My name is Brandon Snide. Halloween may have come and gone, but it was a downright scary scene at Lambeau Field on Sunday afternoon.
I'm Peter Bukowski, host of Locked On Packers. And for this team to win a Super Bowl, they need more from Matt LaFleur.
Any given Sunday, boys.
Go Pack Go! It's the Packers Squad. Everything Green Bay Packers every week. Covering all the big hits and game-changing plays from Titletown. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. From the frozen tundra with all the cheeseheads, the Packers Squad Show starts now.
Locked On Packers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Follow the podcast on Twitter at Locked On Packers. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to the podcast, Apple, Google, Spotify. Wherever you find podcasts, you will certainly find the Locked On Packers, the number one Packers podcast on the internet, and the show for the fans who know, unfortunately, what happened. They want to know why and how. As always, thanks to everyone who makes Locked On Packers their first listen each and every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Halloween, gentlemen, may have come and gone. Quite the scary scene today at Lambeau Field. They fall to the Panthers on a walk-off 49-yard field goal. The final 16-13 in this one. We will certainly break all of that down. We'll look ahead to some potentially bad injury news for the green and gold, the turning point in this one. And at the end of the game, we'll hand out our game balls. But, Coach, let us begin with you. The gut reactions after what we saw today with the Packers loss. They fall to 5-2-1 on the season after that 16-13 loss to Carolina. How are we feeling after this one?
Well, I tell you, it's very disappointing, especially you got to win games at home. And they just didn't show up. I mean, you're sitting there 1 for 5 in the red zone. You had 2 turnovers. And I thought that the clock management at the end of the first half was just awful.
Peter, how you feeling after what we were forced to watch for 3 hours? How you feeling after that one?
Yeah, this is just brutal. And maybe Coach will get mad at me for saying this, but this to me feels very much like one of those Matt LaFleur losses, because this is where you need your culture to come in. You need them to just take this game a little bit more seriously than they seemed to. And you needed it to be more aggressive from the jump than they seemed to play. Now, Matt LaFleur cannot make the guys catch the ball. He can't tell Savion Williams to cover up the ball in the scrum when there's 5 guys around him and you have to cover it up there. But the energy was bad all day. The decision-making was bad all day. And I just said it on Locked On Packers. Like, this is when your culture needs to step forward. This is when all week you need to be focused in prep, because as Coach loves to say, any Sunday, you are eligible for an ass kicking. And I wouldn't say this was that, but certainly they got outplayed in a way that I don't think anyone saw coming except the Carolina Panthers. When they can do one thing, you cannot stop the one thing that they can do. And then none of the ways that they're vulnerable on defense, you're able to effectively attack, because your situational play calling, situational execution. I thought the execution in this game stunk. Like this. And think about this, guys. We can have the kicker discussion at some point. If they just make the kicks that they're supposed to make, like nothing crazy, just make the kicks you're supposed to make, they've won every game. Because the Cleveland game, you get a kick blocked that would have been the game winner that cost you a game. You get a 3-point swing on an extra point in Dallas in a game that you tie, and you have this one, right? In a situation where Brandon McManus misses what is essentially a chip shot field goal. I mean, what was it, 43-yard field goal?
Again, and the same thing last week. It missed 44-yard field goal.
These you have to make. And so then the Panthers, and who knows what happens. We can't just assume everything's going to play out the same after that. But the kicking game has been a consistent reason why you have a worse chance to win. And that stuff, like it is just right now, this team does not feel like they are headed in the right direction in terms of the quality of the down-to-down, game-to-game play. And the penalties again. Penalties once again were a huge problem in this game. The sloppiness has been just really disappointing. 7 penalties. It felt like more, didn't it? the holding penalties and the 2-minute drill.
Make you feel better. They had 6 at half. So there you go.
Okay.
There's
I
your
mean, that doesn't
halftime
make me feel
adjustment.
better because they made 5 red zone trips. You score 1 touchdown. Like if you look at the underlying numbers here, guys, 369 yards, about 6 yards per play. You're 7 of 13 on third down. You go to the red zone 5 times. You score 13 points. That should be impossible. Brandon, that is an impossibility. And yet, turn it over on 4th and 8. Hated the 3rd and 3 play call. You turn it over on the Savion Williams fumble. Like it was like to a T, the recipe, coach, for how you spring an upset. Control the clock, limit possessions, get 1 or 2 turnovers, and introduce variance. And that's exactly what the Panthers did.
You know what was the thing is, like, I tell you, I really like is Greg Olsen. I think he's fabulous. I do. I think he does
You wanted Jordan Love to throw the ball more.
Well, he did, but I tell you, even like before the game, and I'm sure that he got some of this stuff from Carolina when they met during the week, but they did exactly what they said they were going to do. Exactly what they said they were going to do. And that's really the only way I think that they could have come in and controlled the game that way. Was a little bit surprising, especially with all the in and out on the offensive line. It seemed like there was a different guy going out in that first quarter. In the first quarter, like every other series, there was a different O-line lineup in there. So, but they ran the ball on us too today.
The Packers sustaining a key injury in this one. Tight end Tucker Kraft left the game. Head coach Matt LaFleur saying, quote, does not look good. This is from the NFL Network, according to Ian Rappaport. The fear heading into the MRI for Tucker Kraft is a torn ACL. It obviously has not been confirmed yet, but that's the fear for Tucker Kraft and the Green Bay Packers. So we'll talk a little bit more about injuries, but that's the latest update here on the Locked On Packers postgame squad show. Coach, when you look at this team and you look at this game, what, in your opinion, went wrong offensively for this team? Was it the play calling? Was it the protection up front? Was it Jordan Love? Not a great game from Jordan Love, 26 of 37, did have an arm punt earlier in the game as well, throwing into triple coverage. So when you look at this from an offensive standpoint, what went wrong today for the Packers?
I don't think they took enough shots, guys. I just didn't. They were playing small ball, which is just hitches, stick routes, slant routes, but they were never throwing it really down the field. And I know he did a couple times. They started running a couple digs. I think it was Dobbs that caught one deep, wasn't it him?
He did.
And then we had with Watson down there, and one of that pick was going in triple coverage. It was like, here, just throw that damn thing up. But they ran the ball okay today, not great. At the end of the game, at the end of the fourth quarter, they ran the ball well in the red zone. I thought they were running hard, but I didn't understand. Again, guys, this is going to say this all week, is that end of the first half just baffled me. I mean, you got all 3 timeouts and you're running the football. Throw the ball down the field. You can throw it in the middle of the field. You got all these timeouts to stop the clock. I didn't understand that, guys. I really didn't.
The bad one, to your point, Coach, if you look at the end of that first half, they end up getting a field goal because Jordan Love bails them out. But they hit after the brutal holding penalties early in that. They hit the shot there with just under a minute to go. Now, by the time the play is over, there's 47-ish seconds on the clock. They don't run another play with 2 timeouts in their pocket. They don't run another play until 29 seconds. It's 1st and 10. So, like, you have the whole field to use, and 17 seconds. Like, I feel like at that point in the game, those seconds are more valuable than the timeouts. I would have burned the timeout. Yep. By the way, they had to burn a timeout on 2nd and 20 with the clock stopped for whatever reason. Like, the management, the details of this team. I know Coach LaFleur. I know he preaches the details. I know it's an extremely important part of the game for him. And this team is just consistently not on their details. It's really frustrating. And the injuries have piled up, right? Like the losing Tucker Kraft in the second half, losing Matthew Golden in the second half. Josh Jacobs clearly not 100%. They mixed in Emmanuel Wilson, who for the first time I think all season did not look like clearly the more explosive back compared to Josh Jacobs. You lose Aaron Banks again, like the free agent signing that was supposed to be a big deal. Nate Hobbs, that was supposed to be a big deal. He got some run in this game. Did not play a ton. I don't think the final snaps will show he played a ton in this game. Like, Brandon, the final Bryce Young stat line is 11 of 20 for 102 yards with a pick, and you lost.
It's awful, right?
Yeah, if you show anybody that stat line, Peter, you would imagine the Packers put up 35 points and the game was over by halftime, but certainly wasn't the case. The first half, 3 red zone trips, just 6 points in this one. Coach, when you look at this team, how concerning to you is it for the offense? And I guess you can have the same discussion for the defense, but these slow starts in the first half of games. We just saw it Sunday night against the Pittsburgh Steelers. It was another half where they only scored 7 points, had 2 missed field goals in that one from Brandon McManus. We'll talk about the kicker controversy for certainly down the road. But how concerning, Coach, when you look at this team for these slow starts? Because as the games get farther along in the schedule and in the calendar, things are going to tighten up, and you're just not going to be able to afford these slow starts.
Yeah. Sometimes how you can handle that is go up tempo, because you're going to be able to go ahead and you got to get them going. I mentioned, I think on last Wednesday's show, that I would definitely get in a little bit of no huddle and hurry up offense and set the tempo. It just seems like it was real slow, didn't it? Did you guys feel that?
It felt like it. Yeah.
Super slow. I mean, what we had 5 minutes in the first possession in the first quarter.
They had 3 possessions in the first half. Now, the fumble obviously doesn't help them in the red zone from Savion Williams, who looked like they were getting ready to go in and score. But is that when you look at this offense, Peter, does it feel like to you, because you dive into these numbers, you dive into the stats a lot more than I do, and Coach, you can certainly talk to this as well. When I watch this team from a fan perspective, Peter, I'm watching the game and I'm looking at it and I'm thinking to myself, Matt LaFleur doesn't trust Jordan Love. Is that crazy for me to say?
No, I don't think it is. And I really don't think it's about Jordan Love with Matt LaFleur. I think Matt LaFleur has been burned. I think he reminds me a little bit of like a golfer who has gotten close, and in the big moments, his putters let him down. And so now he's feeling like he's got to make every approach shot, or he's got to chip these things in because he doesn't trust his putter. And I think like he calls the game a little tight at times, and he retreats into conservatism and retreats into it's 3rd and 3 in the red zone, and you call a screen rather than Jordan Love all game. I feel like has been able to read things out. And when he was getting the ball out quick, I felt like he was getting a good option every single time, Coach, when they're running, again, some of the conservative routes, when they were running Hank and they were running some of those jerk routes, stick routes, all that stuff. It felt like someone was open every time they did it, because the Panthers, their thing was, we're going to put a lid on everything and we're going to make you throw the ball underneath. And instead of doing that, I thought Greg Olsen, your point, Coach, there were a couple times they called really conservative, that 3rd and 10 or 3rd and 8, they call a screen. And it was like, did you expect heavy pressure? Because they only rushed 4. Like, I feel like Jordan Love's got to come to the line and go, this is not the right play. If they're not going to send pressure, this is the bad play for us. You got to get out of those plays. But it's a bad play to start with, because I don't know why you're expecting it's the perfect play to call against a heavy blitz look. I think they blitzed 4 or 5 times all game. So like, I understand, Brandon, your point that it feels like this is too conservative too often. If you look at the numbers, their neutral pass rate, so 1st and 2nd down when the game is still in the balance, has fallen every single year Matt LaFleur has been the play caller. They were the most aggressive in year 1, less aggressive in 2020, and less aggressive in 2021 after Aaron Rodgers wins the MVP. So I think this is a Matt LaFleur problem. I think that he has gotten too conservative and is doing a lot of playing not to lose instead of playing to win. Where is the all gas, no break coach? That is what I'm looking for. And there are some coaches, there are some coaches who are just better as underdogs. That they're better as young, like let's be the developmental coach, the Scott Skiles, if you will, of the coaching world, where it's like, okay, they need a young team. They can get the young team to, this place. And then once it's a veteran team ready to compete for a Super Bowl, you need somebody else. I'm not saying we're there with Matt LaFleur, but I am closer to there than I have ever been right now with this team, because I think he's a really good play caller. I think he's a really smart coach. And yet I feel something is lacking with this team right now. And it is hard. It really is hard to identify, because I don't think the problem is Jordan Love, but you're right. It feels like Matt LaFleur sometimes thinks that way.
Yeah. Before I get here, before I say this, the timeout thing, right?
Yeah.
When has it ever been a benefactor to keep those in your back pocket? Ever? because you can't get them back, right? So go ahead and use those. But here's the thing, too, guys. I think there's a lot of talent in the Green Bay, especially the wide receivers and the special guys. I really think there's a lot, but it just seems like, how do we get that ball to our playmakers? And we just threw a couple up today again, and one was picked, and one was a great job by Watson. But we got to do some other things than what we're doing. That the small ball in Green Bay, no. I mean, I get the sticks and the slants, I get all that stuff, but we got to throw the ball down the field. I think Olsen kept saying it, and I think all of us in the group chat goes, why aren't we throwing the ball down?
And then they do, and then it's a 51-yard pass to Christian Watson. Now, was it a good throw in double coverage? Maybe not, but you got to live through catch. That. You got it. Yeah, it was a better catch than a throw, but you got to. And I've been saying this a number of times on the show, certainly after the game against the Dallas Cowboys that ended in a tie, is that I'm okay as a Packer fan, Coach and Peter, living through either the failure or the success of number 10 here in Green Bay, right? You pay him all that money, you give him the weapons that they've given him through the draft and whatnot, and free agency with the offensive line. I'm willing to go out there and be okay if they're going to live and die off of the arm and off the shoulder of number 10. But it feels like we're just not getting that, Peter. I'm getting 3-yard checkdowns. I'm getting a swing pass to Savion Williams, who for whatever reason apparently had to get Savion Williams involved in that opening drive there for the Packers as they're getting ready to go in and score a touchdown to kick things off. And how different would this game feel if the Packers put up 7 points right away and put Carolina's back against the wall and allow your pass rushers in Rashawn Gary and Micah Parsons, who were no-shows in this one, to step up and play into the strength of their defense. And that's what we talked about was a key for this game, was to get Carolina one-dimensional. Take them away from what they do best, right? Give them credit for their run game with Rico Dowell. They do a really good job of running in between the tackles, and that's really all they do good offensively. You rattled off the Bryce Young numbers there, Peter, but that was the failure for me, and we'll talk about turning point here shortly, was getting too cute, getting too, almost protecting Jordan Love, or trying to protect the ball a little too much. And we saw it, you guys, in that game against Pittsburgh just a week ago, 20 straight completions, and he wasn't throwing it down to, his running back or a swing pass or a bubble screen. I mean, he was throwing the ball downfield. And when Jordan Love, Peter, gets into a rhythm, and we saw that rhythm Sunday against the Steelers, there's not really a better quarterback in the NFL from a consistency standpoint, than Jordan Love when he gets in that rhythm. And it almost feels like he just hasn't been allowed to get in that rhythm until, obviously your back is already against the wall and you need to score points.
Greg Olsen noted it on the broadcast when they go in and they score the game-tying touchdown, that it looked like the most rhythm that the team had all day was when they were in the no huddle. Yeah. I just don't know why. And in the Jordan Love era, this has been true. They have just refused to do that. Like, that is, to me, Coach, that is a cheat code for your offense. When you need a little juice, let's go up tempo. Let's keep the same guys on the field, because we know you can't sub against Packers. Jordan Love will catch you. So good luck doing that. Keep the same guys on the field and go a little tempo, force the issue, and play. Like, you don't. I think there's a little bit of letting the good be the end, letting the great be the enemy of the good, where they're trying to be too cute, too perfect. We're going to have every call's got to have a can. And, I think the reason they went to Savion Williams in this game was they saw the really bad tackling from Carolina last week against James Cook. So they're like, hey, let's get the ball to the guy who can break tackles. Let's get those guys on the field, because that's not Matthew Goldman. That's not Christian Watson. That's not Romeo Doubs. That's a little too much of, let's try and be perfect. Let's try and be too cute. Yeah. Versus,
the thing is, yeah, go ahead, Peter.
I was going to say, versus just letting your guys win. And I think, Brandon, this is, I know Matt LaFleur hates this conversation, but this is why, and I said this coming out of the offseason, or coming out of the last season, they need a hierarchy on this offense to materialize for Matt LaFleur, not for the offense, because I think it clarifies things. Hey, these are our best players. And it's always, to me, we talked about this on the squad show. They start with scheme and then they go to players. And that's, if you want to say that, that's fine. I still believe in players, not plays. And so it's good when I can have my best guys out there, and I know these certain plays, these are for my guys. And I know exactly how Romeo Doubs is going to run this route every single time. And I know exactly how Matthew Golden is going to run this route every single time. And I think that it makes things easier as a play caller, that I know what this is going to look like every single time versus, okay, we're going to run drift today with Dontavian Wicks, but in 3 plays, we're going to run it with Romeo Doubs. And like, I understand you can't call all the same plays with the same guys, but I just feel like he almost has too many options, and there's a paralyzed by choice mentality here where they don't do anything expertly well. They have some great plays and they can't find consistency as a result. Jordan Love said it in the postgame that they're just not a consistent offense right now. And that's the truth. And I think part of it is that Matt LaFleur almost feels like he has too many options. Just dance with the girl that brung you, coach.
Well, I tell you, trying to call the perfect game, I've called plays before, and trying to call the perfect game, guy, there's no such thing. Yeah. You're going to have the crappiest call made, and it turns into a touchdown. What a great call, right? And you can have like the perfect call, and it's not executed. So there's no such thing. And I see all that too. Like, hey, if we don't have the perfect play, we're gonna can it and go that. You don't get candidates on hurry up offense. You don't get them. Just go. Just go. Keep snapping the damn thing, which they did at the end of the fourth quarter. Thought was really good.
The Packers had chances in this one to put up points a number of times, failed to do so, couldn't capitalize. The Panthers walking off the Pack in this one, a final of 16-13. The Pack now 5-2-1 on the season. When did this game turn for Green Bay? We break down our turning points right after this.
I'm Cody Rourke from Locked On Broncos, and this episode is brought to you by Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. This is Peloton's most advanced equipment yet, giving you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or you're cross-training with your favorite instructors like Alex Toussaint. It's training reimagined to make your workout more personal. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with features that help you plan, stay motivated, and hit peak performance. You can let yourself run, lift, flex, and go while Peloton handles all the rest. Plus, Peloton IQ provides real-time strength coaching, tracking your progress and suggesting weights that challenge you so you can get stronger. Plus, the new movement tracking camera, it counts your reps and corrects your form in real time, making sure every rep is safer and smarter. So let yourself run, lift, flex, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
Ryan Fitzgerald walking off the Green Bay Packers today for the Carolina Panthers with the loss. The Packers falling to 5-2-1 on their season. It's time for our turning point in this one, and I'm really curious to hear your guys' thoughts. Peter, I'll start with you because I feel like this can go in a multitude of different ways for us and where we thought this game turned as the Packers lose to the Panthers 16-13. So, Peter, I'll begin with you. Your turning point in the Packers' loss this afternoon at Lambeau Field.
It was on the first drive.
I knew I was going to be surprised. I wasn't ready for that one.
The fumble by Savion Williams, it just, from that point on, it felt like a different game. Like if they go down and they get 7 points, I think it would be human nature for the Carolina Panthers to go, here we go again. They just got their clocks cleaned by the Buffalo Bills. If you go 3 and out after you convert on 4th down and get called back, you give up a touchdown. And the Packers, by the way, they marched right down the field, didn't they? Like they made it look easy.
They did
until the end. And you fumble there. If you score a touchdown there, I think you see the game going very differently. But that's how close the Packers have been this year in all these games. I mean, look, they've got 2 losses and a tie. And the 2 losses came on last-second field goals. So, I mean, I think you can look at the variance in these games and say, if one play goes differently, it can change your whole game. And to me, that was the difference of the game. If they go up 7-0, I think they might win the game going away because it's a totally different game after that.
Yeah,
Coach, your turning point.
Yeah, that's a good point. Mine's going at the end of the game, where they had a drive. They had to stop the run, and they were going to run the football down there. And they had one, and was it Dowdle? Is that how they say the guy?
Dowdle, yeah.
Dowdle. He made a great run. I mean, it's straight up the middle. They ran 19 what was yards, called that right there set that field goal up, and right at the end there, they were playing. There was 22 guys in the phone booth on that. That's it, right? I mean, they had everybody up, and I think the turning point was that run, because if they stopped that, I don't know. They would have made a difficult field goal for that kid.
Well, it's 2nd and 10 from the 50 when they do that. So let's say they get 3 yards. You get a nice defensive stop. Okay, now it's the -47, and that's a 64-yard field goal, and now it's 3rd down, so you have another crack at it. But it's a very different thing. And on the field goal that the rookie undrafted free agent made or missed on the extra point that he missed, he was short on that. That was like a 53-yard, I think, extra point. What is the normal extra point? 38.
Yep.
He had 15. What a dope move from Rico Dowdle, knowing that Aaron Rodgers has already been, caught for taunting with that same penalty. You only get 1 pump. You don't get 2.
So tell me what that is. So what ended up happening? Because I missed that. Tell me what happened on that.
It's from a sketch show called Key and Peele, and the guy he gives the pump of his pelvis, and he did it not once but twice. Now, someone got called for this a couple of years ago after it came out.
The extra pump got him, huh?
And Rodgers did it. I don't think Rodgers got called for it, because I think he only did a mini gyration pump. And he said after the game, I knew I couldn't do the whole thing, or I was going to get called. So he knew the rule. They planned this. Like, everyone got around Rico Dowdle. Like, this was a planned celebration. They just didn't know the rule. And what I thought was so funny, and it'd be a lot funnier if the Packers had won, is he's yelling at the ref, I only did it twice. He thought 3 pumps would be too many, but no.
It's extra money for the 3rd.
You can't. He's going to get fined. I mean, it cost him $30,000, and it almost cost his team the game.
Guys, let me ask you this, because it became a 1 point. Say that they had made that, and then they would have been up by 2. Right. And the Packers would have had to go for 2 to tie the damn thing. That was
Jags,
huge.
Did you give any thought to going for 2 when the Packers tied the game at 13?
With 2:32 left on the clock?
Greg Olsen made a big deal about that, and I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Well,
not that he was like, they definitely should go, but it was interesting that he brought that up.
But what a difference, right? I mean, the mentality, if they had to go for 2 to tie the damn thing, right? I don't know.
If you'd have had, so it was 2:32, you've got 2 timeouts and the 2-minute warning. You go for 2 and now you're winning. Now, field goal still beats you, right? So the same situation, if you think about the same situation, the field goal still beats you, but at least you're winning if you get a stop. So I don't know if the juice is worth the squeeze. I would be curious to hear what the analytics folks would say about it, because being up, I don't know if that's more valuable than being tied in that situation. Brandon, what is your gut on that? Like, did you think at all about that?
No, I did not. Because quite frankly, because I just didn't trust this offense today, or Matt LaFleur. So that's kind of where that I mean, to me, it was a no brainer when I saw, I think Whelan was like the first guy on the television broadcast I seen come out on the field. And I was like, all right, I'm good with that, because Olsen also brought up a good point. You're tying the game and you're not forcing, Carolina to hopefully march down the field. Obviously they did, thanks to the coach's turning point with the 19-yard run there from Rico Dowdle. But my turning point today, and this one's the 4th and 8th call down in the red zone for Green Bay. Now, obviously hindsight's 20/20, coach, and we can look at it and be like, well, in the moment it felt like the right call. I never felt like it was the right call, because I did not trust the offense today. They just didn't have it today. The Packers 4th and 8 deciding to go for it. That was the play that Jordan Love escaped to his right, then came all the way back to his left, and then tossed the ball all the way to the right. And it was, if it had been caught, it would have been a pick 6, and that would have obviously ended the ball game, but it was dropped. But if you go for 3 in that moment, it's 16-9 at the time, or excuse me, 13-9. At the time, it was 13-6. It was a 13-play drive, you guys, 58 yards. It took 6.5 minutes off the clock. If you at least walk away with points and it's 13-9, I feel a little bit better bringing my defense out on that field to get them to either stop, get Carolina off the field without points, or at the very bare minimum, keep them to 3. And I felt comfortable for the defense today in the way that they played. Was it a great day by the defense? No, it wasn't great, but I felt, Bryce Young wasn't walking him up and down the field. That was a turning point for me. Now, it's obviously hindsight is always 20/20, because if it's 13-9 and you stop them and you now get a touchdown, you now transition that game. You're up after you score that Josh Jacobs touchdown, and things are a lot different for the Packers going forward. That's how I felt in that moment. That 4th and 8 call, I just didn't feel confident, Peter, in this offense today to really get anything done.
Well, and what's interesting about that, Brandon, is that's not the analytically sound decision. It was a
Which
very,
one, Peter?
it was a very strong, the 4th and 8. The analytics say I've got the Ben Baldwin 4th down bot up. The recommendation is very, very strong. Kick the field goal with 11 minutes left. I was fine with it in the moment, I have to say, but you have a 96% success chance of making the field goal and a 30% chance. Like 8 to me, 6 is the cutoff. Anything more than 6, and I'm fine with a kick. So yeah, I mean, your upside is a lot, but I mean, look, if you miss it, this is what happens, and they ended up working. So I'm with you. I mean, I think you could make the case that would have been my second one, but with 11 minutes left to feel like, hey, I got time here to get some stops if you need it, I was okay with it. But it is interesting that the analytics said kick the field goal, which is it's not how we normally feel about it.
Yeah, I tell you, the thing is, just thinking about that, guys, I would have kicked the extra point, because if you were to get the 2-point knockdown, first of all, are you going to run it in, or are you going to throw it from there? Because if you're running it, it's all or nothing, right? At least if you throw it, you have some options. So if that ball would have gotten knocked down, then you'd be sitting there down 1. You'd look like a complete goof. And it's like, how come he didn't do it? It's always, sitting in this chair. This is a lot easier chair to sit in than on the sideline. Yeah. I'll tell you that.
I mean, I don't know, Coach. They got some pretty good weapons. Now, I know he had some injuries today. We mentioned Tucker Kraft potentially tearing his ACL, his future, obviously, for this season in doubt. Matthew Golden also leaving this one with a shoulder injury, though. Coach, I think this is where a lot of Packers fans are frustrated, is because there are a lot of options. And maybe that's the issue, is that there are a lot of options. And you don't really know who to go to in those big moments. And nobody, I don't know, maybe really nobody's really stepped up this year outside of, I know Tucker Kraft is having a heck of a year, leading the team in touchdowns, leading the team in receiving yards. Romeo Doubs with 4 touchdowns right behind Tucker Kraft. But going forward now, Coach, what's the identity? We've asked this question so many times. What's the identity of this Packers offense?
Losing that tight end, I tell you, I love Kraft. I think the guy's a phenomenal player, and he's super, super productive. And I think that this passing game hinges on a tight end being productive. I mean, I really do. Now, who's that guy that's going to step up? I don't know. Because Kraft, I think it was a Pro Bowl player. I really, really do. Now, is Musgrave the guy?
All pro.
Yeah. Yeah. Is Musgrave the guy? I don't know. He's not that guy, right?
He's not going to block the way that Kraft has been able to block. He doesn't have the yards after the catch ability that we've seen out of Tucker Kraft. Now, if you would have told me that, Peter, 3 years ago when they were drafted, I wouldn't have believed you, but that's just how it's transitioned. So
that's the thing, guys. Brandon, is let's not forget in 2023, when these two guys were drafted, they came in and Luke Musgrave was the no doubt day one starter.
Yep.
With Tucker Kraft on the roster. And everyone that came to watch practice was like, holy crap, who's number 88?
Including Matt LaFleur.
Including Matt LaFleur. You rarely hear Matt LaFleur talk about rookies the way that they were talking about Luke Musgrave. And they used him a lot early on. And then he got hurt on a freak play, by the way. I think was it a spleen? It was one of those.
Yeah, it was a spleen. He fell on the ball against the Rams.
And so he's out, and that's what elevated Tucker Kraft. And then Tucker Kraft, we saw, became a guy in this offense last year. Again, Musgrave was hurt. Like, Musgrave is not the blocker Tucker Kraft is, period, end of story. But he can be a weapon in the receiving game. And this is a team that I feel like, remember 2010, guys? Jermichael Finley, coming off the 2009 playoff game, looked like the future of this offense, even with Greg Jennings and Jordy Nelson and Donald, all these guys on the team. And in 2010, he tears his ACL early on. I think it was after 3 or 4 games. And they had to rework the offense, and they never could run the ball that whole season. And they just said, Aaron Rodgers and the defense, you got to bail us out. And Mike McCarthy had to reorient his offense on the fly. And he did it. And I think Matt LaFleur can do it too. I think Luke Musgrave can do some of the things, especially some of the vertical stuff. Like, Jags, you talk about, let's get into 12 or 13, make them play single high, and then send Luke Musgrave up the seam. He can win doing stuff like that.
Yeah, he can.
We saw him on. He's great running sail, and
that's what he ran. That's what he ran tonight.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
I thought Love throwing. The difference to me, guys, this year for Jordan Love is he changes speed so much better this year. The play to Dobbs, the ball to Musgrave. It's a layered throw, right, Coach? Where you got to go up over the linebacker, but in front of the safety over the top. And a couple of them just beautiful. I mean, outstretched fingertips right there, and it's just with enough pace to get it over. And those are the places. Too high. You want to play too high? You want to play cover 2 against the Packers? Here's Luke Musgrave up the seam. Like, I think there's opportunities for them. I would like to see this team become a little bit more of, let's just get in the gun, 11 personnel, and let Jordan Love go. And they may have to, because they're not going to be able to get an 11, have Luke Musgrave be the point of attack blocker and win the same sort of way. If you got Luke Musgrave and Fitzpatrick, those guys are just not good enough as blockers to make that work. Like if you had Darnell Washington, maybe that would work, but that's not what happened. And by the way, guys, the Steelers, who the Packers embarrassed in the second half last week, beat the freaking Colts today. So it's a reminder that the best version of this, I know everyone's doom and gloom today, and I get it. It's very frustrating, but it's frustrating because we know how good this team is. We know how good they are capable of playing. And that's why they're so freaking frustrating.
Coach, is it
Brandon, I want to give you the goodie. I want to put the goodie hat on you. Okay. Since you just love him so much. Right?
Go for it.
All right. So here's the thing, right? The tight ends, you lost your Pro Bowl tight end, right? What's the thing? It's the next guy up, right? And they want to have 3 tight ends up every Sunday. So what do? Goody, you gonna go get another tight end?
Oh, they just lost Ben Sims, which I think that was to Minnesota, which is very unfortunate.
I mean, do you bring another guy in, or do you just go like, hey, you know what? We're going to have to be a little bit more 11.
No, they're going to have, Coach, I think they're going to have to bring somebody up. And this isn't a knock on Luke Musgrave, but he hasn't been able to stay healthy. Peter talked about, the freak injury he had his rookie year, but it's been other things for Luke Musgrave. So unfortunately, I think they obviously like Fitzpatrick a lot. He was featured in this game as well, but I think it's going to be one of those things where they will eventually have to go out and get somebody and bring somebody else back up.
You guys know the trade deadline is on Tuesday, yeah?
Correct. Yep.
There has been rumblings that a certain former Notre Dame tight end who now plays in Las Vegas has been on the trade block, Michael Mayer.
Yep.
And
who was on a lot of people's top boards that year.
Brock Bowers is healthy right now. If the Raiders are going to move on, like, do you call and have a conversation? Now, what is it worth in a window like this? I don't know. Like, if there's a team willing to give up a third, I don't know that the Packers are in a position without a first-round pick to be able to do a move like that and just like go that all in. I like Josh Wiley, who's on their practice squad. I think he can give them some reps, but he's similar to Luke Musgrave in that he's 6'7", 248, 250, but he's more of a pass catcher than a run blocker. So, Michael Mayer is the complete guy. You start to visualize like Mayer and Kraft on the field together in a future world with 12 personnel. Matt LaFleur wants to play that way anyway. Do you just sort of view it as a free agent acquisition now? I mean, that would be awfully appealing to me. It would just depend on what the cost in a situation like that looks like. Do you think they would wish that, Mercedes Lewis, could they sign him off the Broncos practice squad?
Well, Denver had him activated today, but
activate him off the practice squad doesn't mean you sign him.
Correct. Yeah.
So they could snag him from the practice squad.
And there's been rumblings too, Peter, to your point, that the Packers have been actively searching for cornerback help. So does this change things? Probably, right? You would imagine so, especially with a team that, and again, everybody's doom and gloom, including me. The Lions lost today, guys. Yes, the Bears and Vikings won. However, with an ugly loss today, you're still atop the NFC North. So you still control your own destiny. But I have to bring this point up to Coach real quick because we got a little bit here yet before we have to move on. Coach, is it worrisome that this team, we just haven't seen this team put 4 full quarters together yet? We're now in November. Today's November 2nd. The Packers lose to the Panthers 16-13. I don't know if they've put a full game together. I guess you go back to that Detroit game and you're like, that's probably the most complete game, which feels like a different season ago, quite frankly. Is it worrisome though, Coach, that nothing's really clicked for a full 4 quarters yet?
The thing is, like, today was interesting because what's the identity today? Remember we talked about, we had this conversation on the show maybe a couple of weeks ago. What's your identity? So if you're going to talk about their identity today, what the hell was it, Peter? What was that? I mean, I
don't have a good answer for you.
Do right? And that really, we said again last Wednesday, that they need to put two halves together, which they really haven't. Brandon made a good point since Detroit. They need to.
Can I just say though, I have no doubt, truly no doubt. I said this in the middle of the game before I knew what the outcome was, and I probably did think the Packers were going to pull it out in the middle of the game. This game has almost no bearing on how I think they'll play against Philadelphia. Is that crazy to say? Like,
no, I don't know. I think I disagree now because of the Kraft injury. But
okay. So I was with you. I did say barring injury.
Yeah, but I saw your tweet. Yep.
Like, let's say they get Wicks back, for example. Like, I think that would go a long way. And that, like, the defense is still healthy. You're still figuring out the cornerback situations. Like, I was fine with them rotating Nate Hobbs. He did not kill them in this game by any means. They played some nickel with Nate Hobbs in the slot. I would have liked it. We haven't talked enough, guys, and we probably need to mention it. Like, Micah Parsons, paging Micah Parsons, paging Rashawn Gary. Like, Rashawn Gary had a chance to tackle Bryce Young on 3rd and 3 and couldn't make the play. There were a couple times when they had Bryce what looked like dead to rights, and he sputtered out and was able to make a play. You needed more from Devontae Wyatt in this game. Carl Blake, this was a bad offensive line with backups in there, and they did not and they did not show up at all. And I just, like, that's an intensity problem to me, I feel like, because same thing happened against the Browns, same thing happened against the Cowboys in the second half. And I just, like, that can't happen. I think they're going to be pissed off playing the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm not going to say it's a good thing they lost, but I have every faith in this team, knowing we have something for this Philadelphia team. And I said, I don't believe in trap games. I may have to rethink my stance, because this sure played out exactly like, if trap games don't exist, this sure played out exactly like a trap game would have played out.
I don't, but to your point though, Peter, because I was going to ask Coach about that too. I don't know. That first drive didn't feel like they were asleep at the wheel, right? Like, they go right down that fumble. Like, that was your turning point. And I think it's a valid, turning point in the game. It didn't feel like a team, they didn't go 3 and out, and look half asleep at the wheel. Like, they went right down the field. It was an untimely turnover, of course, but Coach, is trap games, is like, what's your take on trap games? Are they real? How do you approach these?
You always talk about it as a coach, but we've said it last week. It's like, you're still playing your standard. You have to.
And that was the messaging all week.
It had to be.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't matter who we play, but you got to show up, because those guys get paid too. Those coaches get paid too. So I don't know. It was disappointing.
The Packers falling to the Panthers at Lambeau Field this afternoon, a final of 16-13. What play, what sequence, or what moment caught Coach Jag's eyes? We'll dive in to Coach's Classroom coming up right after this. Today's Locked On Packers Squad Show is brought to you by Supply House. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. Need parts fast for a project? Supply House has next-day delivery. Talk about a game changer. And right now, you can join the free Trade Master program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHNFL5 for 5% off your first order. That promo code, once again, SHNFL5, and you get 5% off your first order. Once again, that's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. An ugly one today for the Packers as they fall to the Carolina Panthers, who were coming off a 40-9 loss to the Bills. The Packers with a big emotional win against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Coach, I'm turning it over to you. You're taking us to class. What play, what sequence, what moments caught your attention today after the Packers fall to 5-2-1 after the loss this afternoon?
Al, it happened twice today, guys. Our running back got an A-gap blitz. Okay, so when we're talking about A-gap was between the guard and the center, right? So the back had that linebacker on the blitz, and he couldn't get there. Anytime that you have, and it happened with Jacobs, and I think they tried throwing almost like a running back middle screen, and you still have to block the linebacker, right? And that thing got all blown up. But you can't block an A-gap blitzer from deep into the backfield. And it happened twice to him today. So if you get something like that, you have to take your back and move him up, especially if you know that he's in the protection, which he was both those times. But he could never get up to there. But you have to adjust that back. You can't block him from quarterback depth. Just can't.
Coach, I was wondering if you thought there might have been a tell, because both of those blitzes seem like
the same blitz, don't you think, Peter?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like they must have seen something like, hey, when they get in this formation, in this situation, this is the call, and we know that the back is not going to be able to get here. It was like he knew, all right, if I just go, I'm going to be able to get home because of, and I don't know if it was they were identifying protections, like, okay, we know the center is going to slide this way. And so if he's going to slide this way, there's no way the back can get to me in this situation. And they had to know, okay, this is not going to be crack toss. This is not going to be I feel like they had to know in those situations, or feel like they knew what the play was, because otherwise you're just vacating a spot, right? Like you have to kind of have a feel for that to do it twice like one time. Okay. But twice, now I start to go, okay, what did you see on film that made you confident that was going to work again? And Matt LaFleur, those guys, the offensive coaches, are going to have to get in the film room and go, okay, what are we showing? Is there something that we're tipping? Are we tipping our pitches on some of this stuff? Because it very much felt like the Panthers knew in those situations. Now, Ejiro Evero, it used to be on the Packers staff once upon a time. He's been with this McVay tree, former Rams assistant. I
believe he was, Peter, correct me if I'm wrong, was he in the final running for what Jeff Hafley was hired for, defensive coordinator?
He was, and in fact was actually in the final running for the Joe Barry coaching coaching defensive coordinator job, and the Packers picked Joe Barry over Ejiro Evero, which did not go great. Now that they wound up with Jeff Hafley, but Evero is considered a rising star in the business, and Joe Barry sells tires now. So I don't know how that went, but it felt like they had to have known something. And that's, this is when you'd love a bye to self-scout a little bit, but they don't have time. They do have an extra day of prep. But they're going to have to get some of those things figured out. Now, luckily Vic Fangio, very similar tree, very similar defense in terms of structure. They're going to show you too high. They're going to spin. They're not going to blitz until it's third down. And this Packers team is going to play pissed off against the Eagles. Like I'm telling you, there's going to be a different team this week, because they played the Eagles twice last year. They got plenty of tape on this team. Like they know how to play this team. They know what to do. You got to hope that you're going to be able to get some of this little stuff fixed, and you hope that you can get healthy. Aaron Banks, like it was a big deal when he went out. The offense looked different when he went out. So they got to get that part squared away too.
So
you mentioned, go ahead, Coach.
Yeah, go ahead. If you're scouting that, and they were in slide protection. So here's how you can get a linebacker one-on-one with your back, right? Wherever they were in an even front, which means that the center was uncovered. And on slide protection, the center's got to go either going right or left, right? So if he were to go left, which happened today, that linebacker's got the back has to have that linebacker. He has to. So whatever way the center went, the back would come the other way, and he knows that it's going to be a one-on-one with the back. The back just couldn't get there. I just think it was an alignment problem, and you have to be able to adjust your back to move up on an A-gap blitz, or you'll never get there.
Peter, you mentioned a different team going up against the Philadelphia Eagles, who the Packers will host at Lambeau Field on next Monday night. Will the Packers have a new kicker on their special teams unit next Monday night?
I would, but I don't make the calls. I have said for 2 weeks now, hey, listen, Brandon, you don't seem 100% healthy. We're going to give you some time to rest. We need you to you're getting older. Take some time off, rest it up. We're going to put you on IR and let the chips fall where they may. And then you just, if Lucas Haversack is doing great, you just leave him on IR. And if he's disgruntled about it, then you can cut him with a settlement. Like they save money moving forward by moving on from Brandon McManus. So if you think you have someone in Lucas Haversack and all he did was make 10 consecutive kicks being in there, I mean,
a record one as well.
The league record, or excuse me, I said the same thing on our postcast, the team record on no notice. Like I would want to see what that guy has. Now the Packers, Mike McCarthy, you know, I think you were there for that, Jags. Were you there for early Mason Crosby when they're trying to figure it out with him? Like, you know, what are those conversations like in the building? Now, Mason Crosby was a young player at the time, but still, like you know, there is, I think, a certain part of coaching that is letting guys you believe in play through their struggles, right?
Yeah, I think actually my last game as a coach in Green Bay, Mason kicked a field goal against a game-winning field goal against the Bears. I believe it was the Bears. It was either that or Minnesota. I can't remember, but I remember him. He was a good kicker.
But so when you guys, like in those meetings, were you ever a part of those conversations? Like, hey, like what are we going to do? Like it changes the way it has to change the way you game plan and call plays in the game, doesn't it? If you're not 100% sure on your kicker.
Yeah. I don't think he's healthy, Peter.
I don't think he is either.
Brandon,
I think he rushed himself back.
I do
because
too,
he saw.
Exactly. Because I'm going to get stuck on the bench if I don't get my butt back in there. Right?
I think that's what it was. And Peter, to this whole thing, this was a really weird thing that happened between him and Matt LaFleur. Brandon McManus is right. McFleur says there's a major concern. McManus says I think he's got to get a new thesaurus. I think that was, you know, I'm probably paraphrasing him, but it was a weird. And then Matt LaFleur jokingly said, somebody asked him earlier this week, how's McManus doing? He goes, I don't know. I don't talk to kickers. I don't know, man. I think there's something underlying between those two where it's just something seems off. And it doesn't help, obviously, when you go out there.
And all the more reason for them to make a move. If LaFleur is already annoyed with the kicker and McManus is getting salty about it. Now, by the way, Coach, I just looked it up. It was your last game at Lambeau as a Packers.
Right. Yeah, right.
So they played the Vikings. You guys won 9-7, beat the Bears the following week, but that was at Soldier Field. So, yeah.
You're exactly right.
9-7.
Exactly
Mason made what ended up being the game winner.
Yeah, I tell you got like stats at your fingertips, both you guys, Brendan.
I know. That's all.
Peter,
Don't give me credit. That's all, Peter.
Just looking that stuff up.
I go for vibes, Coach. That's why in the group chat I text you guys. I think the second quarter said this team stinks. I just go for vibes.
Yeah, you're out on the ledge again.
Then Peter responds. You know, he'll have the analytical answer, which is fine, which I love and appreciate. But I go off of vibes and I test. And today they certainly let me down, Coach.
Well, yeah, we got another one in 6-7 days. So
we do. We got another one to get ready for. And before we do go, we got to hand out our game balls as the Packers fall to the Carolina Panthers today, 16-13. We'll hand out our game balls coming up right after our final break. Today's Locked On Packers post-game squad show brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game or you want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a bigger shot at a payout. It keeps every game even more exciting, especially when your team's making that late game push. And right now, FanDuel is giving customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Read that again for you. FanDuel giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com right now, sign up, and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. FanDuel.com. An ugly one for the Packers as they fall for the second time this season. Both of their losses coming off of walk-off field goals. Ryan Fitzpatrick connects from 49 yards, and the Carolina Panthers coming in as 13.5-point underdogs, according to our fans over there at FanDuel, and beating the Green Bay Packers on Sunday at Lambeau Field. Win, lose, or draw, we got to do it, Coach. Let's hand out our game balls. You get the first one this afternoon after this Packers ugly loss. Who you handing yours out to?
Guys, I haven't done this all season, going on the other side. But Rico Dowdle ran hard, man. 25 carries. That's a big load. That's a big load because they really didn't throw the ball very good. You know, what he was 10 to 20, 11 to 20, but 25 carries for $130, and he made the run when he had to make it there in the fourth quarter to set up that field goal. So that's my game ball to him.
Yeah, and Peter, if you're going into this week, and we'll get to your game ball here in a minute. If you're going into this week, that's the only guy. If you're looking at the other side of the ball for the Carolina Panthers, you're like, we can't let that guy beat us, and that's unfortunately what happened today for the Packers.
Yeah, I hate to do this to you, Coach, but I actually have to correct the record. Mason Crosby drafted in 2007. It was Ryan Longwell who made the game-winning field goal at Lambeau.
When I was there, is it 7? That was Longwell.
Yeah. Sorry.
Well,
you don't talk to kickers either, Coach, obviously.
Never. You leave those guys alone. They got enough problems.
All right, my game ball today. I have gone on the other side, but I am gonna, because I would have picked Rico Dowdle. I'm gonna take Xavier McKinney because he had the sack fumble early that Quay Walker, for whatever reason, did not even pretend to pick up.
Were you guys screaming at your TV like I was?
I mean,
what are we doing?
That was very strange. That, like, if you're a defensive player, even incomplete passes, defensive players go and pick up just in case. And we had another one later. I thought that throw behind the line of scrimmage was closer than I thought
it was.
Like that easily could have stayed with the reversal or with the fumble, as it was called on the field. But he also had the interception in the end zone, almost had another one. That's someone that the Packers are really going to need to make some plays. If they're going to get turnovers, it's not going to come from your corners. It's going to come from your safeties, or it's going to come from guys blitzing. It's going to come from pressures. It's going to come from sack fumbles, or it's going to come from, Edgerrin Cooper tips and those kinds of things. He needs to be, for this Packers defense to be what it wants to be, he has to be an elite level player. And I thought he was an elite level player in this game.
To your point for your game ball, Xavier McKinney. Yes, Micah Parsons played. Yes, Rashawn Gary played. Yes, Devontae Wyatt played. Xavier McKinney, the only guy with the sack today for the Green Bay Packers, which recipe for a not so great. Although the defense, they were fine, but to Coach's game ball, Rico Dowdle just. I
mean, if I'd have told you coming in that the Panthers scored 16, you'd have said the Packers won by 2 touchdowns.
Right, and I will say this too, and I'll get to my game ball in a minute. And I know a lot of Packers fans are doom and gloom. This isn't this Panthers team's a lot better than people think, right? They're 4-4 coming in. They're coming off of a really bad loss to the Buffalo Bills. There's no doubt about it. They got refocused this week and played a game at Lambeau Field. They mucked up the game and did exactly what an underdog needed to do in this one. They
beat the Falcons 30-0.
Exactly. Like, it's not like, I know people are going to, I see a lot of people in the live chat saying it's the worst team in the NFL. It's not, quite frankly, it's not. And they're in the running for their division there. So it's not as bad of a Panther team as we've seen in the past. My game ball, I'm going to stay with Peter and stick with the Packers. And obviously, Coach, Rico Dowdle was fantastic today. I'm going to go to Romeo Doubs in this one. And I thought for the Packers at one point lost, obviously, Tucker Kraft, which has not been fully confirmed, but the fear is a torn ACL for number 85. They lost him in this game. They lost Matthew Golden in the second half to a shoulder injury. They went into this game without Dontavian Wicks. And then at some point in this game, I think he did return. Don't quote me. They lost Christian Watson. I believe he was being looked at for a concussion. Romeo Doubs today, 7 catches, 91 yards, had a big third down grab in that fourth quarter to what would have turned out to be the game tying touchdown there from Josh Jacobs. Had a big time catch and on the sideline there. I thought for Rome stepping up, answering, as much offense as they could get going for Green Bay. I thought Romeo Doubs was the bright spot for the Packers. 7 catches, 91 yards. Peter, this is going to sound really nitpicky, but I believe was it on that? No, it was. I forgot what quarter it was. Did it look like J.C. Horn grabbed Romeo Doubs in the back of the end zone? I forgot exactly what.
Oh, yeah. And
it kind of went under it was swept under the rug.
It was a bang play. He undercut the route and then had his arm around Romeo Doubs. I didn't think it was a perfect throw, frankly, from Jordan Love. Put it the only place that J.C. Horn couldn't get to. I would just love to not throw a 50-50 ball at Romeo Doubs against JC Horn. Like, can you just, like, you need to know where JC Horn is at all times. And I like that the offense is not based on that they're not going, this offense is not afraid to throw at your number one corner. But I just would like Jordan to go, okay, maybe there's a better option for me now. Romeo Doubs 50-50, like give him a chance. And he put the ball exactly where he wanted. I thought the officials generally, guys, in this game stunk. I thought they were really bad. Generally, it's not why the Packers lost, but it certainly did not help. I thought this was a poorly officiated game on a lot of levels.
The Packers fall to the Panthers at Lambeau Field. Today's final 16-13. Hopefully our live post-game show here was therapeutic for you as it was for me after the loss. And we'll see if the Packers can rebound. No time to sulk in this one. Got the Eagles on deck. Friendly reminder, the Locked On Packers squad show and daily show will get you ready all week long, all free and available wherever you guys get audio podcasts, as well as over on YouTube. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that thumbs up, hit that notification bell, get notified when new videos and our live videos drop. For Peter Bukowski, for Coach Jags, and for myself, we will sign off for now, but we will catch up later this week. Peter's got you all week. The squad show will meet back up on Wednesday. We'll get you ready for the big Monday night matchup with the Philadelphia Eagles. And remember, all week long, starting tomorrow, starting today, really, all week long, Peter's got you covered on the Daily Show. Make sure you tune in, make sure you listen, and make sure you subscribe. Thanks to each and every one of you for tuning in. Thank you guys for always making Locked On Packers part of your day each and every single day. And as always, stay Locked On Packers.